don't want to set the world on fire.
Welcome, everyone, to the next episode of The Folly of Man. My name is Chris, and with me here today,
Robert.
And today we'll be looking at the next two chapters in our installment of Prey.
That's right. Such a strange thing, because I'm used to us saying Fallout Equestria something. And it's not Fallout Equestria anything.
Fallout Equestria, Prey. No.
It's just Equestria, Prey. Or is it Prey Equestria? For those of you who've never joined us before, on The Folly of Man, Chris here is a Brony, and I, Robert, am not a Brony, and we review My Little Pony fan fiction that is typically centered in the universe of Fallout and My Little Pony. However, the author of Fallout Equestria was Kkat, and she also wrote this other book, which blends the video game Prey with, surprise, surprise, My Little Pony.
Yes. Prey is a more recent installment, of course. It's the most recent installment that she's written as of the time of this video. Hopefully, this statement becomes less true as time goes on.
Yeah, of course. I mean, if we ever finish this series. I mean, one book takes us like years.
Yeah.
What was it? Was the first book was like 47 episodes?
Yes.
And we only have like 76 episodes?
It only took us like a year and a half, maybe two.
Yeah, right? Eventually, one day. Like, imagine if we actually tried to cover a book like War and Peace. Nobody would want to see that book review.
Well, I mean, technically, I believe Project Horizons is longer than War and Peace.
If we finish the entire book.
Yes.
So, for those of you who've joined us for other episodes of The Folly of Man, one other thing is very different. You may notice that we generally synopsize. I think that's a word. Synopsize.
Sure.
Yes.
Welcome to English. Everything's a verb.
The act of a synopsis. We synopsize the story. In this case, we assume that you have read Equestria Prey. We assume that you've read Prey.
It's just Prey.
And if you haven't, click the link below. Go give it an update. Tell Kkat she's great. But specifically, go read chapters 5 and 6. And if you have not, and you don't want to be spoiled for anything that we talk about, pause the video. This is the 21st century. I shouldn't have to tell you to pause the video, go experience it on your own, and then come back and tell us how wrong we are for how we feel about the story.
Exactly.
So, but you're on our wild ride.
Welcome.
Where we last left off with our main character, our protagonist, Ocellus, it doesn't really matter how you pronounce the name, as long as you know that she's a changeling. And she's trapped in Nightmare Moon's, Luna's, home prison on the moon. Not a moon, the moon. The big one.
Well, hopefully there's not more than one
in the
moon.
Sky. Well, it depends on what planet you're on.
We haven't really talked about that in Fallout in Equestria, so it's a weird thing. I don't even know how it works.
I'm imagining like this horrible montage with equestrian characters, and it's drops of Jupiter, and they're literally like dancing among the stars. It's like a love story for Princess Luna.
No, I mean, I'm pretty certain the show probably gave like two different explanations, which are actually contradictory to each other, but the entire fandom spends all of its time trying to make it work because that's how they work. But as far as I know it is a geocentric universe. And that's the reason that Celestia controls the sun, is because it's actually a ball. It's part, and so it follows.
I would love to that it's just not like it's not proportional. It's literally like a basketball in the sky.
Yeah, but it's like the Greco-Roman theory of a bowl that has holes in it, and so you're seeing the light bear out.
So it's a colander that wipes over the sky.
Well, yes.
But, well, in that case, it sounds like Luna has way more work. Huh. If she brings up the night, she's having to drag that whole colander over the sky. That sounds heavy.
Well, no, only the moon. She's the mistress of the night, but just the moon.
The mistress. Let's upgrade her to the madam of the night, please. Mistress makes it sound like she's some kind of cheap whore.
Sorry. What I meant was to say lady of the evening.
Lady of the Did Luna have any consorts?
I
don't remember any of them being specifically mentioned.
I would like to believe that that's where the bat ponies came from.
Oh, no. So she had bats in her belfry?
Yes. Still does every night if she can help it.
Ocellus. We need to pick one and stick with it. What do you vote for?
Achilles.
No. No, it's not Achilles. There's two L's. How about we go with Acellus.
Okay.
Okay, Acellus, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know I'll say it wrong later in the chapter, but everybody can say that we're going with Acellus. Is a changeling. Changelings are very similar in some ways to their D&D counterpart of a changeling. They can take on all these forms. And so we've learned that not only do they take on these forms, but they take on some of, not all of, the powers of the form with which that they take. And this has benefits and disadvantages. For instance, if you are being poisoned in your current form, you can change form to something that can't be poisoned. For instance, like a goblet, right?
Makes you question how the biology works.
And yeah, the less you think about it, the better.
Yeah.
We also find in these chapters that Acellus has the capability to form a protective, like, energy shield around herself and ram through things.
Mm-hmm.
As apparently they broke through the shield of Canterlot. I assume that that's a reference to something on the show.
When they broke through the shield of Canterlot, yes.
Yeah, but wasn't that a season that you weren't? Have you gone back and watched?
No, that was
season
actually
now?
from the first episode where the changelings were introduced, which was the season finale, if I'm not mistaken, of season 2. Which was still when Lauren Faust was in charge. She disagreed with Cadence being an alicorn, which didn't really do much, didn't really do anything for the story. It was just there to sell toys.
It seems like, from what you've said, because again, I'm not a Brony. I know it sounds like from this fancy schmancy lingo, the lingua franca that I use in the show, that I know what I'm talking about. I really don't. But it sounds like the crux of the show, or the crutch of the show, is that, we need to get people to buy more toys. Let's make someone an alicorn.
It's worse than that. It's the same. No, it is the principle. That's correct, but it's so much worse than, hey, let's just make a person an alicorn. There was a one episode where they all went Super Saiyan. I kid you not. And there was also one which was like a Dragon Ball Z fight that people liked, but I was like somewhere in the back of my mind while watching it thinking, this isn't really what the show's about. Why are you doing this?
So Twilight Sparkle's just standing there on a field.
No, she like raises a mountain range with super alicorn power.
Jesus Christ.
Yes.
Sorry, Celestia. Celestia, I don't know how this works.
Celestia
didn't really have any, I mean, I guess she had children, but they're not, princesses.
Yeah. As
like,
far as we know, it wasn't immaculate.
It's like the princesses just had fuck buddies.
Yeah. Look, you live forever. We've been over this. You live forever, you get bored, you want somebody to spend time with, and you're like, hey, they're hot. And of course...
It's why in the D&D universe there's so many half-elf things.
Well, I mean, think about
or in fairness, Lord of the Rings, everybody there is half something.
Yeah.
Even Elrond is half-elf.
Ask Priscilla Presley. Any god comes up to you and says, hey, wanna fuck? They're gonna go, yes. Yes.
Why would I ask Priscilla Presley?
Wasn't she the one who was quoted for Personal Jesus?
Well, yes, she referred to Elvis Presley as her own personal Jesus.
As in the god. As in
then,
God
yes.
came to her and said, hey, you want to bang in the back of my pickup.
And then, of course, Depeche Mode made the
song,
famous
yes.
song, Your Own Personal Jesus.
But that's kind of what I was referencing, is the fact that pretty much a cultural and social deity.
So, Acellus is in Nightmare Moon's castle. She's spoken to Nightmare Moon. And she's come across her friend, Gallus the Griffin. The only friend she's come across thus far. They've had a bunch of encounters and skirmishes with these love-starved drone changelings of an evil drone queen on the moon.
On the moon.
On the moon. We also have a fight where Acellus is fighting against a drone that finally takes one of those little needle-like eye drop, Silver Moon eye drop devices and injects themselves through their eye and causes this wild mutation of a changeling and creates a bee swarm.
Through their Acellus.
Yes.
Yeah.
I suppose they do have a bug eye, but they refer to it as an eye.
Yeah. I mean,
Which really upsets her. So there's a fight that ensues, and Acellus and Gallus are fighting. It's a swarm. So rather than a changeling just being one entity that it replaces itself with like
multiple individual
many things that create one body. They even form like a humanoid like figure as they move around.
Yeah.
And they're terrifying. I believe they were shooting out like electrical energy bolts, and
They are Twittermites, which come up in the show, but very weirdly. I believe it was actually a nightmare of one of the characters, so I don't know whether Twittermites actually exist, or whether they're just a myth, or whether it was literally just actually in the show, fever dream.
I guess we won't know.
I'm sure it probably comes up later in the show.
Because this obviously is not, canonical to My Little Pony.
I mean, it should be.
It's its own canon.
It really, honestly, My Little Pony should have been swept aside for Fall Equestria, but that's a different story.
So, but interestingly enough, Acellus to combat, it's like we keep learning the rules of changelings. In a way, it's kind of like the rules of changelings are getting written every chapter. Because, yes, there are some rules from the show, right?
Yeah.
But like Acellus, who's just a drone, let's clarify, she is just a drone, has the capability, though, to change into a queen form because she's seen a queen, but she herself is not a queen. That's at least how it was explained in the chapter to me. So she mimicked a queen, and when she mimicked a queen changeling, she was capable of using the royal jelly, which is the resin. It's a resin that encapsulates things. Many of the other drones have been using guns that fire this kind of resin, but she was able to utilize it herself. But of course, she takes on some of the affectation and craziness of her queen Chrysalis, right?
Yeah.
So, and she doesn't like that, but it works. She's able to fight the thing and win. And she and Gallus are real like, what the man, putting a freaking needle in your eye? What the hell, man?
Yeah.
Like the eye.
Yeah.
And it's like, if it just has to get into your brain, why not like through the mouth? But the eye.
The eye.
But obviously it's from the game.
Yeah.
It goes in through the eye. But the game doesn't really explain why it goes through the eye either.
Yeah, it does.
It does?
Yep.
Okay, but then tell us why it goes through the eye.
I actually kind of went over this in the last one. The neuromods have to implant the genetic material of the mimics directly, or the typhon, into your brain directly. And on a human being, the only way to get to the prefrontal cortex directly, like with a straight shot, is go through the eye.
But you have to break through bone. Unless you're going, like, piercing through the optic nerve.
Yeah.
Which would cause long-term vision loss.
Well, it's got little medicine thingies that in a little way hand wavium in it.
Yes, good old hand wavium.
Yeah, it's a little hand wavium.
MacGuffinite.
Yes. No, the typhon is the MacGuffinite.
But we also collect another anti-element, right? The evil elements of harmony. Elements of malice or disharmony?
Vice.
That's right. Elements of vice. And I don't remember what this vice is for, but I remember it's like a silvery moon looking thing. It's like a crescent moon element.
Oh gosh. I know what it is, but I've forgotten the term. I've forgotten the word. Jealousy, resentment, something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Something dumb.
It has to do with, Gallus explains that, when he's an orphan, and so when all of the different crowd were hanging out with their parents, he was kind of bitter and resentful sitting in a corner. Like that introvert meme.
Yeah.
With the person in the corner of the party.
It's good that the elements of vice aren't like alcoholism and masturbation and, self-harm.
One of them is lust.
Well, obviously one of them's going to be lust, right? It has to be.
Also, why are there only 4 deadly sins in this universe?
Spoilers. Yeah, well, how many elements of harmony are there? 6?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's from the main 6, right? So it kind of surprised me that there's only 4 elements.
Well,
it almost seems
to be fair, there should be 5.
Kkat's like, I don't want to have to write 6 different chapters collecting these things.
Yeah. Well, and 6 different characters.
Actually, what it seems like more realistically is Luna like, well, Celestia needed 6 of these things. I could get 4 of these fucking things and get this thing solved quicker. I'll show her. I don't need to make 6 things. I only have 4 vices myself.
Well, it could be the vices of Celestia. It could be specially tuned specifically to destroy her.
I suppose it was designed to be a prison for her.
Yeah, so don't think about that too much, kids. Or maybe it's Luna's vices. Who knows?
So there's a lot of drone fights
Yeah.
in these chapters. And there's obviously some story, but there's some serious insecurity from Gallus.
Yep.
Crazy insecurity, like, well, if your dragon friend was here, I guess you'd tell her.
Yeah.
And it's like, are we setting up another dumb love triangle? Are we doing another dumb love triangle?
No, Gallus's character in the show is a bitter snark.
Okay. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That's kind of his thing where he's
But
just
at least he does apologize for being a dickweed.
Yeah.
Sorry my words were so harmful. And then Acellus is like, you're so warm, which reminds me of Bella from New Moon. He was so cold. Your body's so warm. Like, I'm sorry. Acellus is just like, she's all broody, and she's all like, I don't know who I am, and I don't know who I need, and I don't know what I look like right now. And it's
coldly calculated to pander to your shrinking demographic.
That's right. So I just, in this last couple chapters, I got some serious Bella from Twilight New Moon vibes. So I'm sorry.
Because Smolder to be played by Robert Pattinson.
Oh, God. Oh, goddamn.
However, based on his performance, it should be a pretty good role.
You know who would be a great Discord? Willem Dafoe.
Speaking of fantastic Discord, this is how weird the show likes to do its writing because they had to come up with a solution for something. Because all the characters in the show, all of the villains need to be saved because that's the whole shtick, is they're saved by the power of friendship. They turned Discord away from being evil.
Yeah. The
Lord God of Chaos.
Yeah.
They control him.
Yeah, he's chaotic good now.
The problem is the definition of chaos is that it cannot be controlled. Anyway, so the point in the story is they portray that his powers of chaos as chaotic magic cannot affect changelings.
Dumb.
Do you see why this is a problem?
Dumb.
It's dumb.
I'm just gonna say it. Hot Diggity Demon had the best version of Discord. Bring me your virgins.
I am your god now.
Yes, I am your god now. But basically, there's like some hardcore drone fighting, and then the most upsetting thing is that the drones copy statues of Nightmare Moon,
which is actually great writing on Kkat's part.
Yes, I want to get into the description because she describes them as unflexing ebony statues. Not ebony. No. Obsidian.
Yeah.
Like obsidian statues, black as the night, and where a mane would normally flow, it literally like crinkles and crunches like it's bent metal.
Because it's based not only on that, but it's based on the stained glass interpretations.
I was just going to say, their eyes are made of stained glass, and so are their teeth, right? And so, like, when they pin Gallus down and they're trying to bite Gallus, and it's literally like 3 rows of razor-sharp stained glass teeth that start ripping like chainsaws. And you're like, Jesus Christ!
Get the fuck out.
You're immediately like, well, that's fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
What?
That'd do it.
What the hell?
That's when you just like time out.
Kkat
I thought I knew what the stakes were. What the game we were playing was. I'm out. Okay, yeah. Bye.
Kkat's like, you know what? It's been so long since I wrote something really fucked up, right? It's since like people were eating people and Little Pip massacred an entire village. Like, it's been a long time since I've talked about somebody's entrails being pulled out of their body. Let me create a literal nightmare fever dream. That shoots lightning bolts out of its horn. So not only are they statues of Nightmare Moon, but they've taken on some of the spells of a princess. So these things are dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
But they still wind up fighting them fairly well. They get torn apart. This happens before this, but a weird cloud of like Nightmare Moon heals them after they've been torn up by like razor sharp resin. And I think I got that right. There's a couple different forms we see. Acellus uses her bunny form to get away. She uses her bugbear form to, wreck shit.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Which are not the bugbears from D&D.
No, not
they
at
look
all.
like bumble bears.
Yes, they. Yeah. But because they've got a stinger. When she said got it with its stinger, I was like, got it with a stinger?
Yeah, it's literally
that's a manicore.
It's a bear that has bumblebee wings and a bumblebee's kind of whatever the butt end is called.
It's just a bumble bear. Let's.
It's a bumble bear.
Let's not call it a bugbear then.
Yeah, because
bugbears.
Hasbro owns Wizards of the Coast, so they own D&D. So they get to come up with all that. That's the reason they get to use Manticore.
Yeah, but just stop making the wrong versions of those things.
The Manticore was right.
There's still something about changelings being like pony-ish in their physique that bothers me. I get it that we're in a horse-based universe.
If you think that bothers you, just wait. Just wait until you realize that on Applejack's farm, they had cattle, and all of the cattle could talk and communicate.
But they don't eat them. But they are on a farm.
Slavery.
Well,
if they don't eat them,
Let
what does?
my udders go.
Fluttershy
When
feeds.
Bessie was on Applejack's farm, let my udders go. Way down.
Thank you, Cameron.
Pony. Way down in Equestria.
Okay. Anyway,
tell old Macintosh to let my bovine go.
getting back on to point in the
Would
story.
you call that a bovine spiritual?
Yeah.
An Angro spiritual?
Wow.
I don't know where we go from here.
Apparently,
You're the one who talked about. You're the one who said that. Isn't it convenient that all these cattle are here?
No, I was talking
in
about
slavery.
the fact that I was talking about the fact that they were milking them, and they have because the whole idea is that all of the
basically they're performing a daily titty twister to get milk.
Well, why else would they have the cows?
Also, we learned that Yona, being a yak, apparently is not susceptible to like paralyzing spells.
Yeah.
From something Gallus says, like, and Yona broke away from the tentacles. And it's like, oh yeah, yaks and paralyzing. But it's like, okay, whatever.
There's a lot of just absolute, like, I swear, the writers for My Little Pony, especially as the seasons continued, they must have just had a massive gape going on because they had pulled so much out of their ass.
You really need to be careful with that word. It triggers some people. My wife included.
Oh, it's just so bad. It's the reason I can't keep watching it, is that it's just all plot convenience and plot contrivance.
What other creatures are problematic like that in the universe, right? So it's like, you've got...
the goats, they don't talk, but they are still sapient in a sense.
So do they have agency?
Yes.
But...
So
how are they treated, Chris?
There is a Minotaur, okay, who was a motivation...
Wait, Minotaur. So half man, half bull? That implies that there's men in this
No, it's
universe.
just an upright bull. It's just a bull with arms, like huge flexing muscles.
But that's not what a Minotaur is.
We're just going to go with that version of Minotaur.
Who fucked a bull to make him?
A pony. But the thing is there's a Minotaur, right? And his entourage, because he's a motivational
You would think
speaker.
that the version of a Minotaur in this universe would be a centaur. But even
No.
then, that's half human.
That's still half human. That would be the creepy version. Let's be honest. Because it would be a pony on a pony. That's just super weird. But he's a motivational speaker because, Minotaurs, obviously, motivational speakers.
Sure. Grab the bull by the horns.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And all of his entourage and his staff are all goats who just have, like, the wired lavalier mics that are attached to your ear.
But they don't talk.
But they don't talk.
So how are they communicating?
All they do is bray and just,
Yes. Does he speak goat? Is it implied that the Minotaur understands what they're saying?
None of the universe makes sense. And that was even from before, like season 1 or season 2. It's just like, what?
See, I think how the Minotaur was made was the pony that was sitting on a bench like this. That's the one that I think made the Minotaur. That was a skinwalker. It was a human in a pantomime pony suit. I would love it if in the show there were two humans just hidden in a pantomime pony.
No. Well, actually, there is actually a joke related to that where the ponies have to sneak in because Spike has to go off and go through his trials of adolescence.
Yeah.
So they follow him into the Dragonland. They follow him into the Dragonlands, but they can't. They can't show themselves as ponies because obviously these are dragons, and dragons, just gobble them up, and they just can't be like that. So they decide to have Rarity create this costume of a dragon, and it looks as obviously ridiculous as somebody would make.
It's like when you have two kids in a giant trench coat.
Yes.
Trying to get into an R-rated movie.
Of course, then they say, "Wait, isn't that oh god, Crackle's cousin?" They're like, "Yeah," and they look up and they shift, and it's literally a dragon that looks like that. It's got 8 legs, 4 at the front, 4 at the back, a really long neck, and just some weird yappy jaw.
The only reaction to that is, ah! Yeah, Jesus!
It just kind of yelps and then starts scratching itself.
In
with
a
the little...
world of crazy creatures, the only response is, what the fuck is that?
Someone get Arlie Ermy out of the grave in here now.
It's a drag octagon.
Oh, God.
Who fucked an octopus?
Oh,
that's how you make Cthulhu. That right there is how you make Cthulhu. Now you're going to tell me, like, that's the one thing you haven't mentioned. There's no Lovecraft creatures in this world.
You know, I on a completely separate note, I'm really saddened by the fact that the squid was not named a hexapus. Yeah, it really missed out on opportunity there.
So the chapter kind of ends. Gallus and Acellus are basically, they're beating some of the drones, but they're getting their asses handed to them by these Nightmare Moon statue changelings, because that's fucking powerful as shit. And so they're like, I don't have the EXP to fight you, man. I'm not the right level. This is a challenge rating 4 and we're level 2 characters.
Let's be honest, that thing as described is probably a challenge rating 6.
Yeah. But anyways, so they go back to the throne room because that's where they're safe, and they don't see Nightmare Moon. I'm sorry, Luna. They don't see Luna. Nightmare Moon is not there. But now that we have seen that the changelings can take on the forms of statues that don't have any powers, that's what's even more upsetting. Is like, so statues don't have powers, right? Even in a magical universe, they're just emulating a statue. So what have they done to make this like weird, crazy animated version?
It's been a long time with it, probably.
But anyways, they're protected in the throne room. They're special magics that only friends of Luna are protected by there. So enemies of Luna cannot enter.
Yep.
And that's about it.
Yeah.
You know, basically, they end up, snuggling at the end, because they are sad and they miss their friends and they don't know where they're going. And Acellus still refuses to tell Gallus of, the tough choice that she's going to have to make.
Gallus kind of is already like, I get the feeling.
You up to something.
Yeah, you're hiding something, aren't you?
I do like, too, that we see that, like, in a world where everybody's herbivores, like, Gallus is a motherfucking predator, and he hunts, right? And so we get to see this, like, crazy lion, eagle, winged creature just, like, getting all sneaky and hunting shit, like, hiding in the shadows, and it's like, oh, that motherfucker can... He's a predator.
Yeah.
And Acellus is like, they were at something bullshit thing at the tree and they're all having vegetarian snacks. And he's like, it's not as filling, so I'm going to go fishing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they kind of also explain, I think even in the beginning, where they handed Smolder a whole bunch of gemstones.
Yes, and was picking out, like, the green ones.
Yeah, or was it the green ones or the quartz?
I don't know. It's just, he said it's like the lima beans of gemstones.
Yeah.
It was something that was like that. So, yeah. So that's where we're at. Predictions for the rest of the book. Chris, where do you think we're going with the rest of this? You limey fuck. You limey fuck. Always knowing what's about to happen.
Would you like us to read a story where I don't know what happens?
Yes! I thought we were going to do it with this one.
Look, we'll explain later exactly why that's not the case.
It would be so nice if for once I'm not the last pony across the finish line.
The problem is I only want us to actually read finished and good books, and I don't know which ones are good unless I've read them.
Or you could just let someone else you trust, perhaps one of the authors or someone from the Discord server, saying, hey, maybe you want to read this one. You're like, how about like the conversation we had 2 weeks ago on the Discord that's like, oh, I haven't read that one. You should read that one. We'll read that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there is one, though, Stardust. It is a crossover of, I think it's called Stardust, My Little Pony and XCOM.
Yes.
Interesting.
I don't know anything about XCOM, so I'll have to bone up
the
on that.
invasion of Earth by aliens.
Yes, I feel like we have briefly discussed this before, but I'm
Mhm.
sure I could find a 10-minute YouTube video that'll tell me everything I ever need to know about XCOM.
Yeah.
And then I can speak with impunity as an expert on XCOM.
Yeah, I'm really sorry. I actually bought the most recent XCOM game, XCOM Chimera Squad. I just couldn't get into it. There's so much wrong to it. There's so much wrong to it. That's just, it's so bad.
You want to talk about what kind of an internet boomer I am?
Hmm.
I just got into Rocket League.
Was that new game that
I don't need to say anything else about that. I don't need to say another word. You already know.
I'm sorry.
I have a buddy of mine though who said, "Hey, it's free now on the Epic Game Store." I was like, "Is it free on the Switch?" He said, "Yeah, it's like free on all platforms." I was like, "Oh, cool. Yeah, but it's free to play, pay to win, right?" He's like, "No." He says, "No, everybody's on the same level. It's just free. Go play it. Yeah, you can pay for stuff if you care about what your car looks like, but go play." And he says, "I got to warn you though, it's pretty addictive." And I was like, "That's all right. I'm fine." I've been playing for less than a week, 30 hours into it.
As one does.
Yeah. I'll like stop playing on the computer and then hop in the bed and pull out the Switch and keep playing. And Bree's like, "Would you stop?" She's like, "I get it. It's cars and soccer. It's that car soccer game." And I'm like, "It's so much more than..." No, it's car soccer.
It is car soccer.
No, you're right.
It's one of the deep, meaningful, philosophical connotations
it's car soccer.
of a car
It's car soccer.
playing soccer.
And she's like, "Man, you're really getting into that." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "Every time you score a goal, like you pump your fist in the air." And she's like, "And every time you hit the ball, like your whole body jerks, like you're actually kicking it." I'm like, I'm sorry if I get into this. So, for those of you who are familiar with the Foley of Man, I'm going to rip the Band-Aid off right now. But I'm also going to rip off the philosophical Band-Aid as well and say that there is no pony pun of the week in the Foley of Man Pray. There is no pony pun of the week. I'm very sorry. I'm sorry. There's no pony pun of the week!
No pony pun of the week.
There's no pony pun of the week. So, that being said, for those of you who've joined us here and join us regularly, I would like to thank you for letting me be myself again. I would also like to thank you for joining us on the Discord for downloading the podcast version. If you're watching us on YouTube, check out the link below and download the audio version. I actually do put some work into making sure that that's just as professional sounding as what you see here. And if you think this isn't professional sounding, go fuck yourself. But we try our best. And if you're listening to
I'm
something,
waiting the YouTube comment. Oh, really?
sorry.
Well, I guess I'll just go fuck myself then.
Yeah. Well, have fun, man. There's lots of fun ways to fuck yourself now. The price on fleshlights has plummeted.
Yeah, I mean,
Thank you, Elon Musk.
Are you wrong?
He should.
Are you wrong?
His fun company that or the boring company, right? It's
Yeah.
the boring company that makes the flamethrower. They should just make sex toys too. Why not?
Yeah.
Boring sex toys.
And then you make an attachment to the flamethrower, just so that it exists.
Huh? Yeah.
Everybody's like, well, no, that's what. So it's like a oh god, what's it called? The knife at the end of a rifle.
A bayonet.
Bayonet. So it's like a bayonet.
What do you call that
dildo.
sticky pointy thing at the end of a gun? The what?
Well, it didn't really be a sticky pointy thing at the end of a gun.
But yes, if you're listening to the audio podcast, please check out our YouTube channel. YouTube.com/CrescoCast. We do lots of cool little video content there. And we've actually had a couple people who listen to the audio podcast join us on the Discord server. And I want to tell you folks, not Facebook, not Twitter, not in the trenches, not on the beaches. In our Discord server is where it is at.
Mm-hmm.
You could even leave comments on YouTube. I think it helps us algorithmically, but we're not monetized, so nothing really helps us algorithmically.
Because YouTube's like, we're not making money off of you.
I
Go
made
die in a fire.
I made a video, an Oreo video, a year ago, and it literally has like 50 million views from the people who stole the video or made derivative works.
Yeah, I mean, I think last week we got a letter from Susan Wojcicki.
Yeah, sure.
Susan Wojcicki, which just looked like she had just spat on a page. I mean,
I hope it was spit. I hope to God that was spit and not anything else.
YouTube just fucking hates us because we don't make money. So
it's all right. It's just like fucking degenerate bronies, and it's like fair, right? Fair.
Well, except market.
Yeah. But speaking of the market, particularly because we're not monetized, I do want to thank all of you who support us on Patreon. And if you don't believe in Patreon, we also have a subscribe star. And at the very least, thank you for liking our stuff and sharing it with your friends. I'm not going to do the bullshit YouTuber like, I remember this man, blah, 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 and here's my Raycoms and our Raid Shadow Legends. There's none of that crap.
NordVPN.
No, there's none of that crap. But really, just sharing this and hopping on the Discord and hanging out with us means the world with us. And for those of you who do support us monetarily on Patreon, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I think we'll actually list the names on the main series because I think that's more fair.
Mm-hmm.
The MANE series. Is there anything else, Christopher, that you would like to say to our friends and our fans?
We love you.
From the bottom of our hearts. So, for Chris, I'm Robert. This has been the Folly of Man Prey, and we will see you next time on Dragon Ball Z.
It's all over, but the cry.
Oh no. Chris, I just thought of an awful anti-hero for the internet. Bonizion.
Woo! Oh, good.
Rip in peace, Bonizion.
Didn't he like rape his wife or something?
I don't know. He's really crazy. Allegedly.
really is.
Allegedly. Oh. I need to shut that door.
You do. Get on that.
You get on it. Chop, chop, chop. Say what again. Say what again, motherfucker.
Oh. Anyway.
Chapters 5 and 6.
Chapters 5 and 6.
5 and 6, ba-ba-ba. 2 chapters, we'll be through this book in no time. Well, we have to have something for the after credits.
Oh, true.
Da 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 da. Hey, dum da dum da dum da dum da dum da dum 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 dum. Here comes the little Pip.